Macros in Microsoft Word are essentially set of recorded or written instructions that automate a series of tasks. This special feature in Microsoft Word limits the manual way of performing some repetitive actions. There are some actions or operations in Microsoft Word which you normally or frequently perform. These particular actions or operations can be controlled by macros. Macros can be used to execute manual actions with a single click or using a assigned keyboard shortcut. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through practically how macros work and some of the options or actions you can perform with macros, which can limit your manual operations that you frequently perform in Microsoft Word. Now, before we jump into it, let me dive you into some uses of this particular macros. It is used to set up customized formatting for a document. It can also be used to create tables with specific formatting, and also it also enables you to import certain images or objects into Microsoft Word. That is, if you have a company logo or a company picture, that whenever you are creating your documents in Microsoft Word, you need to have these pictures or objects inserted into Microsoft Word. And when you want to do this, you need to go through some actions or some step-by-step instructions by moving to the insert tab, moving to the insert ribbon to access some options before you can import a picture or a logo into Microsoft Word. But when you do these actions in macros, now you have a single click or some keyboard shortcut that is assigned to this macros, and you can import your logo. And do not get worried, because I'm going to show you practically some of the options you can use whenever you have macros activated. Now, you can also integrate this with other applications as well. And this feature can save you a lot of time while operating in Microsoft Word. So this is macros, and I've already defined macros to you, which I said it comes to limit the manual actions that we perform in Microsoft Word. Now, on this interface, I have Microsoft Word open, and this is my created document. I'm going to show you two ways you can access the macros in Microsoft Word and how you can use them to perform your actions. Now, the first approach is to use the developer tab in Microsoft Word. When you move to the menu bar of this Word document or this Word window, we have all these tabs available. And on this tab, you can see that I have this developer tab, and this developer tab is by default not available on this particular menu bar. You need to activate this particular tab, and to do this, you can right click on any of these tabs or on the ribbon of any of these tabs. You are going to have these options. We are going to select customize the ribbon. Now, choosing the customize the ribbon links you to this interface, and this interface is called Word Options. And automatically the customize ribbon is selected. We have two sections in this interface. Move to the customize ribbon section, and we have these options here, and you can see that developer tab is checked. By default, if you don't have the tab on your menu bar, you are going to have this box unchecked. So you have to click the box to check, then you click on OK. And when you get back to your front stage view of Microsoft Word, you are going to see the developer tab activated. Now that this is activated, you can click on it, and we have this ribbon that relates to this developer tab. And in this tab or in this ribbon, we have this code group, and this code group has these commands or these tools available, and we have macros. And in this section, we have record macro. When you click on this, this is going to display some recorded macros that you have performed and also saved for future or for other actions in Microsoft Word. So you can see that I have micro 1, micro 2, 3, 4. These are some macros I have created for specific actions. So whenever I'm performing some actions in Microsoft Word, I can get into these macros and activate them to perform those actions in a single click. And in this case, I'm going to delete all these available macros. So now we don't have any macros recorded in this field. Therefore, if you want to record a macro, you move back to the code group under the developer tab and choose record macro. This is the beautiful window that pops up whenever you have the record macro button clicked, and this is the window. Now the first thing you have to notice here is to give a macro name to this particular macro. So I have typed format, and this is my macro, and this is the name of the macro. And we have assign macro to button. You can assign to button, or you can assign to a keyboard. I'm going to assign this to a keyboard. Then in this field, you are going to type a keyboard shortcut you want for this particular macro. I'm going to use the Alt, Control, and the letter F. So this is going to be the assign keyboard shortcut to this particular macro. So without even using the macro dialog box, I can use the keyboard shortcut. Just that I have to memorize this shortcut so that when I'm performing my actions, I can utilize it. And when you're done with this keyboard shortcut, you can choose assign. You can also add description when we get to that particular field. Now this is in process, so you can see that the mouse pointer that we have here, we have a face emoji that is below this mouse pointer, and this tells you that the macro is activated. Therefore, whatever action we are going to perform is going to be recorded and saved into the macro dialog box. So in this case, I'm going to format this particular heading, and this heading is macros in Microsoft Word. I'm going to click and select, then move back to my home tab, and I'm going to utilize the font group. So I'm going to change the font type. I'm going to select Times New Roman, and then change the font size to 18. And I'm going to bold it, underline, and also move to this change case option, and I'm going to click on the drop down arrow and choose uppercase, because I want to make this particular heading differentiated from its definition or its description. Then I change this particular font color to red, and this is going to be the formatting for this particular selected line of text. Therefore, when I'm done with all this formatting, I'll move back to the developer tab. Then I'm going to choose stop recording. You can also pause the recording if you have other options you want to add or other formatting you want to add to this selected text. But in this case, I am done, so I'm going to choose stop recording. Now when I click on this, now you can see that I have this format macro name, and that shows you that whatever actions or operations I performed in this particular macro is recorded and saved under this particular name. Therefore, this is activated. Now, for you to get this dialog box, you can also use the Alt key and the F8 on the keyboard. This also provides you with a macro dialog box, and also you get access to all the recorded or written instructed macros in Microsoft Word. You can use this in an existing document or a new created document. Now this particular heading I have here is heading 1, and if I want to have the same effect to this, I'm going to select this and then hold the Alt, Control, and the letter F. So you can see that all the formatting I applied to this particular heading has been affected to this particular heading, and this has the font color red, but in this case this is having the font color black. When I select this and move to my home tab, you can see that these are the formatting. We have Times New Roman, bold, underline, font size. We also have the change case, and we have this font color. If I select this, this is also having the same effect. So when it comes to macros, having an effective macros, you need to plan carefully, and also when you plan carefully, it helps the flow of recording your macros in an easy way, and also it has its output having a perfection. Because if the plan is not carefully done, you are going to have some lagging or some actions not being well performed. So in this case that we have this, the only thing that we can do is to select this heading and choose this font color just to apply the font color to this particular heading. We can also select this, and then in this time around we're going to hold the Alt and the F8 on the keyboard, and then in this dialog box I'm going to select this and choose run, and this is also going to change and apply all the formatting that we had for the previous selected text to this particular heading. And you can change the font color in an easy way. I was trying to figure out why the color was not attached to this particular heading. I believe because there was a delay, or because the process was not accurately done. That is why the font color was not affected or was not recorded in this macros. That is why I have to manually change the font color. But if it was planned and carefully done, then I'm going to have all effects applied, and you can testify. When you go to the font group, you can see that we have the Times New Roman, we have this, we have this, we have this, we have the change case, and also we have the font color here, which was manually changed. But in this case, for this particular selection, we have all these effects activated, and that is what we have for this, which is perfectly activated. So when it comes to recording a macro, you have to plan well, know how to get all your effects and move it in a simple way without any delays. That is what I believe in, because I was trying to figure out why the font color was not recorded in my macro. Now let's try another example. If I open a new document and I'm going to have some typed text. Now when I select this and then use my keyboard shortcut, you can see that we have this effect, or this formatting effect, that was recorded in our first macro, and that is what we have in this field. It means that this testifies that the font color which I changed was not recorded in my format macros. So this is the first example I want to introduce to you. Let's jump into the next example, which is very simple. In this case, I'm going to insert a table. So I'm going to click here and press the enter key, move to the insert tab, and then I'm going to have this, and then I'm going to type some headings. Now I'm going to select this heading of these three cells that we have here, and then what I'm going to do is to record this particular formatting I want to apply to this table. And this time around I'm not going to use the developer tab, I'm going to use a different tab, which is the view tab. So I'm going to click here, and then in the view tab we have the macros group in this ribbon. I'm going to select this arrow and choose record macro. You can also press the letter R on the keyboard, and then we have this macro dialog box, and I'm going to change the name. And this time around I'm not going to assign a keyboard shortcut, I'm going to assign a button. And before then, when it comes to this field, we have store macros in, and I have it set for all documents. You can click on the drop down arrow and choose for this particular document, which is document 1. But in this case, for it to be available for every document, make sure you select all documents. And then we have this description. You can type a description. So this is the description I have for this particular macro, and I'm going to assign it to a button. Now when it comes to assigning this to a button, then you need the help of the VBA of Microsoft Word, where you need to write a simple series of codes to get this activated. So I'll urge you that just assign this to a keyboard shortcut or ignore it and use the macros dialog box to perform this action. So let's move back to the view tab, macros, and choose record, and I'm going to ignore the button and name this provide some description, and then I'm going to click on OK. Now we have this in the recording mode. So I'm going to select this heading and then move to the home tab, and then we have this action. I'm going to select this and change this to this particular font. I'm also going to change the background color. So this is the formatting I want to give it to every table I create in Microsoft Word, so that the heading of that table is going to have this formatting with this bold font, and then also the font color of the text, and also the background that is given to the headings. And when I'm done, I can move back to the view tab and then click on this arrow and choose stop recording. Now when I open my macros dialog box, I have format and table. Anytime you create your macros, you have them listed in the macros dialog box. And then when I select this, you can see that I have no description here, but when I select this, this is the description I gave it to read. So when another user of this computer gets access to this macros and select any of these macros that we have recorded, he or she is going to identify this and notice what particular macros was recorded. So it is better for you to add some description to your macros. So this tells you that this is table formatting. Now when I open a new document, I'm going to create a table. Now when I select this table and then open my macros, select table and choose run, this is what happened. I have this particular color given to this row in this table. Therefore the formatting is also available. When I select and start to type, so you can see that as I am typing, this formatting is available because it was recorded in the macros, and also the background that was given to this particular heading in that macro is also available here. So whenever you are recording, take your time and plan before you get into the interface of Microsoft Word, so that you can have the perfection of whatever output that you want. Because if you don't plan very well, you'll be struggling, and at the end you are not going to get the result that you need in the recorded macro. So this is an example I want to illustrate to you. And if you could remember, in our first illustration we couldn't get the font color because if there was a lagging or a delay in recording, or also because we didn't perform it in a way that was not accepted by this particular software. So as I said, plan before you get into this interface for you to have a perfect recorded macro. So this is perfectly done, and I can start to input my information in this field. So this table is beautifully created. Let me show you another example you can perform with macros. This is when you have a picture or a logo you normally import into Microsoft Word to create a particular document. Then you can record a macro to have that effect saved in Microsoft Word. So whenever you want to use that, just input that using your keyboard shortcut or utilizing the macros dialog box. So what I'm going to do is, in this case I've showed you two ways, using the developer tab and also the view tab. So this time around I'm going to use the view tab, choose record macro. I'm going to name this logo, and I'm going to assign this to a keyboard shortcut. Therefore let's apply a description. So the description is, please insert the company logo. I'm going to assign a keyboard shortcut. Alt Control P and click on assign. Close. And now this is recorded. So what I'm going to do is to import the logo. Move to the insert tab, picture, this device. Then in the file explorer of your insert picture dialog box, I'm going to select the location. So make sure you have the location where your picture is saved. And I'm going to select this, which is Banahene Tutorial Collection, and this is the channel that you are currently watching this video. And this channel provides you a lot of videos on Microsoft Office softwares and other computing activities. So after selecting your picture or logo, you choose Insert. Now this picture is inserted in this Word document. I mistakenly selected a position which I shouldn't have done so. I selected a position in this table, but do not get worried. I'm going to stop this by moving to the View tab, Macros, and choose Stop Recording. Now, if I get into a different Word document, and then I select this section, and I hold the Alt, Control, and the letter P, you can see that I have imported this image simply without moving through all the processes that I partake in importing this picture into Microsoft Word. And this picture is editable and also modifiable. When I hold the knots or the edges of this picture, I can minimize, that is to reduce the size of it based on your preference. And to move this picture around, you need to click on this button and choose any of these text wrapping options. I'm going to select this, and now I can move this picture around. I can position it. I can cut this, Control X, and then move to a different document. This time I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to select this section, and then choose Ctrl+V on the keyboard. Now I have this picture here perfectly illustrated, as you can see. So I can place this picture in any of my Word documents for any documents or any presentation I want to have in this particular interface. So this is how to have this perfectly done in Microsoft Word using macros. I hope you've learned something in this particular video when it comes to macros. So based on this basic and intermediate introduction to macros, you can sit and understand what are some of the actions or operations you can perform with these macros when you have access to Microsoft Word. If you are in a business company or any institution where you normally have certain documents you normally create, I believe that you should have these macros in handy, and that is going to boost your productivity level and help you to have some repetitive tasks performed in a single click. And as you can see, we use the macros dialog box to perform, and also the assign keyboard shortcut only if you can memorize the keyboard shortcut. Another way to have a shortcut given to your macros is to have a setup given to it. And to do this, you move to the file menu, and then you move to options, then you select customize ribbon, and then in this section of this customize ribbon we have customize, and then in this field you are going to search for macros. So what you do is, so you scroll down and you're going to see macros here, select macros, and then you can see that these are the shortcuts given to the current macro that I recorded. So this is a shortcut. You can even add new shortcut. You can also select this and remove this shortcut from this section. So when you get to the backstage view of your Microsoft Word, you can also set up your keyboard shortcut, or you can customize your keyboard shortcut based on your preference. So this time I can remove this, I can reset, or I can do a lot of options or settings in this interface. So this is also another way of applying keyboard shortcut to your macros. And when you're done, you can choose save, or when you add a keyboard shortcut, you can click on assign and save the changes applied to it. So this is the illustrations to macros in Microsoft Word, and I hope we've get some understanding. And when we sit up and plan carefully how we want to use this feature, we can perform so many operations and actions that can boost our mind, that can make us have a comfortable environment created whenever we have access to Microsoft Word. And as usual, remember your keyboard shortcut. And also to reveal the micro dialog box, it is Alt plus F8, and that is where you're going to see all the list of recorded macros in Microsoft Word, and you can only run them when you are ready to do so.